And here's your host, Steve Shedler.
Hey, good morning to you. Time for the morning wake up, brought to us by Home Plate Sports Cards in Oskaloosa. We are doing it on a Thursday, February 15th. Hopefully you had a great Valentine's Day. I know my wife and I did. We went up to Barnwired and had a delicious dinner last night. Dinner or supper? What do you call it? I call it supper, but for you guys, I called it dinner. I don't know why, but we had some delicious pork chops. Jim and the gals at Barnwired in Sigourney treated us like royalty. So hopefully you had a good Valentine's Day yesterday. You got lots of roses from the Garden Gate in Sigourney and all that good stuff. So it's the post-Valentine's Day morning wake-up here on Thursday the 15th. It's brought to us by Home Plate Sports Cards. There's no place like Home Plate Sports Cards in Oskaloosa, located at 1516 A Avenue East, Oskaloosa, 641-676-1516. They like to play into that 1516. They are closed Monday and Tuesday, but they are open Wednesday through Friday from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Saturdays noon to 6, Sundays noon to 4. There is no place like Home Plate Sports Cards. Again, 1516 A Avenue East, Oskaloosa. They sponsor our morning wake-up here on Steve Shetler Media. And a good morning to you in the comments. We'll get to those in a second. First, our forecast, and it's brought to us by the Garden Gate. I'm sure they are taking a deep breath after getting through Valentine's Day yesterday. That has to be the peak of their year. On Valentine's Day at all the flower shops, especially the Garden Gate at 105 South Jefferson in Sigourney, 641-622-3191. Hours Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Saturdays 9 to noon. They can help you out not only with Valentine's Day every year, but they've got fresh floral arrangements, they've got jewelry, home decor, sympathy gifts. They got something for everyone at the Garden Gate in Sigourney. Stop in, tell them Steve sent you. Forecast for today, we're going to have some clouds this morning, gradually clearing and breezy. Winds gusting up to about 30 miles per hour today, a high of 41 degrees. Tonight, there is a 50% chance of some snow, mainly after 3 a.m., Snow accumulation less than an inch possible for the overnight hours, a low of 27. Some snow tomorrow morning, less than half an inch, and cloudy skies, a high of 34. Friday night, it should be clear, a low of 15. And then sunshine and breezy on Saturday, a high of 36. Now, looking into next week, temps will be rebounding back into the 50s, I believe into the 60s by midweek next week. So, a little bit cooler this weekend than what we've been seeing, but we've been spoiled in February so far here in Iowa. That is our forecast here on Steve Shetler Media, brought to us by the Garden Gate. Looking at our current conditions, we do have humidity at 89%. Pretty gusty winds north at about 20, maybe to 30 miles per hour, and the barometric pressure at 30.03, 33 degrees right now in southeast Iowa. Hey, coming up later on today, we will have our question of the day brought to us by Amy's Salon House and Spa in Sigourney. And again, they are celebrating their 18th anniversary all month long. And you can stop in at Amy's at 202 North Main, Sigourney, 641-622-3772. Call or text for an appointment. They've got specials going on their products and their tanning through the end of this month. And they've got their anniversary open house on Thursday the 29th. So lots coming up at Amy's Salon House and Spa. Question of the day will go up during the noon hour today. If you could relive one day of your life, which one would it be? So, kind of a deep thinker. Yesterday was obviously way too much to think about and to answer. I didn't get much, if any, responses yesterday. I know it was minimal. So yesterday was too much. So we won't do that again. But today, if you could relive one day of your life, which one would it be? So obviously, you'd want to pick a good day if you want to relive it. So if you could relive one day of your life, what would it be? That is our question of the day. We'll get to that later on the Facebook side of things on Steve Shetler Media. Hey, coming up tomorrow, this week, at least for me, this week is going by pretty quickly. Tomorrow is Friday already. We'll have our Iowa Music Showcase tomorrow. Jake Simon from the Grinnell Tama area. He'll be coming into Sigourney tomorrow at Barn Wired. And we'll be doing the Iowa Music Showcase. Live interview, live original tunes tomorrow with Jake Simon. Again, live and in person at Barn Wired. You can stop in, get some coffee, get some drinks, get some lunch, do some shopping at Barn Wired while I talk to Jake Simon right there in front of you. And he'll be performing some tunes tomorrow. You can also, of course, watch it live here on Steve Shetler Media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. So, Jake Simon coming to town tomorrow for our Iowa Music Showcase. Coming up Saturday morning, the sports section. We'll have some area high school coaches, athletes at Brothers Market live in downtown Sigourney. 8 a.m. every Saturday morning at Brothers Market for the sports section. Tune in then. And then also, I believe you still have just very limited time to still get your vote in for this week's Athlete of the Week, brought to us by Keokuk County Hospital and Clinics, featuring several different athletes from around our area in southeast Iowa. So get your vote in. You'll have to scroll down through my timeline on Facebook to get your vote in if you haven't yet. That poll went up on Monday, as it does every week. You can still cast your vote. Last I checked, it was pretty close. I need to go back and check that out again for the Athlete of the Week voting. So we'll be coming up on that tomorrow. Of course, coming up tonight, we'll have Keota basketball on the air here on Steve Shetler Media. Across all my platforms, we'll have Keota taking on North Tama. It's postseason boys basketball action here on Steve Shetler Media. Keota, they'll be highly favored in this game. The undefeated and high-scoring, high-flying Eagles taking it on North Tama, who has a below 500 record. So Keota, we'll see what they can do tonight, and then maybe we'll lead into next week with another game or two. We'll see what happens with the Keota boys. Again, that starts tonight at 7 p.m., and it's just the one game as the Keota girls are done. Keota boys continue on in the postseason tonight at 7 p.m. Tune in here on Steve Shetler Media. Eddie Conrad, Andy McGuire with the call of the game. All right, I think... Oh, one other thing I was going to bring up. So, here just a few minutes ago on Steve Shetler Media, I shared a pretty interesting video from southeast Iowa, from Lee County in southeast Iowa. A friend of mine on Facebook, Nathan Gosnell, shared this video from, again, this is Lee County. This shows a big old cat. Here you go.
The other day.
Oh, it
Check
just
that
out of
out.
focus.
It was a little bit out of focus, but you want to watch that again? Let me bring it back to you. This is he thinks it's a bobcat, or is it something else?
I saw the other day. Oh, it just went out of focus.
So regardless, bobcat, mountain lion, I don't know, mountain lion, but whatever that is, that's a big cat. You want to watch it one more time? Let's do it. Let's back that up. Here you go.
I saw the other day.
Oh, it just went out of focus.
Whatever kind of cat that is a large kitty. And that crossed the highway there in front of, again, a Facebook friend of mine, Nathan Gosnell from Lee County in southeast Iowa. So, yeah, big cats out there in Iowa. If you want to watch that video over again and again and again, if you're kind of a nature lover or an animal lover or just interested in wildlife here in Iowa, I did post that as its own solo video on my Facebook and YouTube pages. So check that out. That was a big cat in Lee County. Let's get to our good mornings. And a good morning to you, Jackie, Dodie. It is a little bit chilly out this morning. Renee, you say supper. I do too. Supper. Is it supper or dinner? That might be a good question of the day sometime. Let's see here. Sherry, we got Dan. Yeah, Renee, you need to make it to Barn Wired sometime. Kurt and Kathy, hidey ho. We got Sandy, Ashley, Heather, Tracy, how you doing? Eloise, Cindy, Nancy, Aaron, Pat, Ron, Becky, Sherry, Penny, Bruce. Yeah, lots of folks tuning in this morning here on the Morning Wake Up, brought to us by Home Plate Sports Cards. And you know, yesterday, after I made a big deal about wanting to focus on some community calendar type events each morning here on the Morning Wake Up, I totally forgot to bring up some events. Oh dear. I am a one-man show, and sometimes it does show because my mind is just everywhere. So my apologies. We'll try to make that a regular thing here on the mornings here on Steve Shetler Media. One thing that is a normal thing is birthdays. Let me get a drink while we sing along. Happy birthday. Rick Landgrebe in Orlando. Lucky you. All right, let's do some birthdays for today. We've got Dr. Quinn, medicine woman, Jane Seymour, turning 73 years old today. Happy birthday to Jane. Cartoonist Matt Groening from The Simpsons, turning 70 years old. Got football player Darryl Green of the Redskins back in the day, 64 years old. I remember when you could play the video game Tecmo Bowl. If you were the Washington Redskins, you did not want to, or if you were the opposition of the Redskins in Tecmo Bowl, you did not want to throw towards Darryl Green, defensive back, because he would pick it off in Tecmo Bowl and in real life too. Let's see here. Also, football player Edgar Bennett from the Packers, who were in the Super Bowl with Edgar Bennett back in the day. He's 55. We've got actress Alex Borstein, who is a voice on Family Guy, turns 53 years old. And then Amber Riley, the actress, turning 38. You know her from Glee and Dancing with the Stars. Good morning to you, Alan. My lips are in sync this morning, huh? All right. I still have my new computer. My new computer is over my shoulder back here. You can't really see it. I have slowly started getting that thing ready to go. So, yes, we'll see if that helps at all. But hopefully my lips are in sync this morning with you guys watching. On this day, good morning to you, Dale. Hey, just saw Dale. Was doing some grocery shopping at Brothers Market yesterday and ran into Dale. So, Dale, good to see you in the comments this morning. On this date in history, on February 15th, the famous astronomer Galileo Galilei. Singing Queen there, in case you didn't know the reference. Galileo, born on this date in 1564. Galileo. On this date in 1842, the very first adhesive postage stamp was sold. It was on this date, 1878, Edison received a patent for his invention of the phonograph. It was also on this date in 1936, North Dakota hit its all-time record low of 60 below zero. That was on this date, 1936, North Dakota, 60 below. Burr. It was on this date in 1950, Cinderella, Walt Disney's animated film Cinderella, opened in theaters. That I would say that has stood the test of time. Cinderella, 1950. Good morning to you, Sherry. Good morning to you, Bubby and Billy. Now, Bubby, if you're watching, now last game you hit a 3-pointer. That was awesome. But I'm telling you, if you score a 3-pointer tonight, you got to look up at us on Steve Shetler Media, and you got to blow us a kiss. You got to remember to do that. Hit the 3-pointer and then blow us a kiss. That would make my day. That would make my Keota basketball season if you did that. So, no pressure. I love watching Bubby when he gets in for the Keota Eagles. Those are awesome times. Today is National Wisconsin Day, so we salute you, Wisconsin. I don't know why I whistled, but I did. It's Singles Awareness Day. Yesterday we had Valentine's Day for all you lovers, all you lovebirds. Today is Singles Awareness Day. So we're aware that you're single. There. And it's National Gumdrop Day. So we'll celebrate those days. It's also Makeup Day. So put your makeup on. You know, guys, girls, whoever. In this day and age, it doesn't matter. You can, just you be you. Let's see here, things you need to know. A new study on COVID-19. Why are we still talking about COVID-19? I don't know. COVID-19 shows that 1 in 10 people who had COVID when they were pregnant will develop long-term symptoms. I don't know about... Oh, I got Stella. Hang on. We have a Stella appearance. We got to make time for Stella. Here's my girl Stella. She is still wearing her Christmas sweater. Hi, Stella. This is kind of the normal routine. She's a licker. She's a licker. Oh, Stella. All right, I gotta work, Stella. So you gotta go. Okay. So after Stella, let's see here. There is a new dating app for all you people that are still single. It's called Score, and evidently it's for people with good credit. A dating app only for people with good credit. So if you want to date somebody that isn't financially ruined, use the dating app called Score. Let's see here. Nearly 4 years after the start of the pandemic, again, here we are. Why are we still talking about it? The Centers for Disease Control may soon drop the advice that people need to stay home for 5 days after testing positive for COVID. So, there you go. Dolly Parton. Did you see Elle King on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry here a few weeks ago? Oh, probably a couple weeks ago, where she was just drunk and making a fool of herself on stage at the Grand Ole Opry. Of all places. Why would you get drunk and then go try to perform on the Grand Ole Opry? Bad life choices for Elle King. Dolly Parton, though, is asking fans to forgive Elle for that performance on a night that was meant to honor Dolly Parton. So, of course, Dolly is saying that. She's like the nicest person in the world. Let's see here. Let's go to baseball. Jenny Kavner has been announced as the new primary play-by-play announcer for the Oakland A's TV broadcast. So a woman lead announcer for a Major League Baseball team. I don't really watch a whole lot of baseball, but I'm assuming that is a new thing to have a woman play-by-play announcer. Let's see here. Let's go to the rumor mill from the Super Bowl. Kanye West supposedly bought seats right in front of Taylor Swift's suite at the Super Bowl. And the rumor is that she had him kicked out. Don't know if it's true, but it is a good rumor. You know, they have had kind of a long-running feud for like 15 years now, ever since the whole MTV thing. Didn't Kanye, was that where he snagged the trophy out of Taylor's hands? I'm getting old. I can't remember these things. Researchers say that we're not that far away from never having to remember passwords again. You know, I was telling you earlier how I just got this new computer. I'm still setting it up. But it did give me the option to use a fingerprint to sign in to my computer. I was like, no, I'm good. You don't need my fingerprint. We don't need the New World Order taking things over quite yet. So I didn't do that. But researchers say we're not that far away from not using passwords, instead using your body. Like your face, your retina. Of course, phones are doing that already. A spoken phrase might also be a way to sign in to your computers. So your body basically becomes your security key. So might not have to have that whole list beside your computer of passwords. Basically, I have kind of a Rolodex of passwords in my brain where if one doesn't work, I just keep going through all the different passwords that I have. Let's see here. Nike. Tiger Woods. After Nike let go of Tiger has teamed up with TaylorMade for a new brand of clothes. The brand called Sunday Red. Men's apparel, golf shirts, hoodies, outerwear, and that will become available on May 1st. So, again, Sunday Red, Tiger Woods and TaylorMade teaming up for that clothing brand. Other stuff you need to know. A new study conducted by scientists from UCLA, Indiana, the University of California, San Diego, and other institutes in Germany has determined that apes have a sense of humor. In other news, we'll just act like that didn't happen. Neil Young, there's diamonds on the streets, red, white, and blue. Neil Young announcing an upcoming summer tour with his group Crazy Horse and a new album coming out. That'll be released on limited edition colored vinyl for Record Store Day on April 20th. Neil Young. Let's see here. Still trying to figure out how a stingray named Charlotte the stingray, who spends her days gliding around in a storefront aquarium in North Carolina's Appalachian Mountains, still trying to figure out how she got pregnant. She hasn't shared a tank with a male stingray in at least 8 years. So that is a mystery. Good morning to you, Tammy. Thank you for joining us. In some food news, Wendy's. Wendy's latest addition to their menu is actually from another food chain. Starting February 26th, Wendy's partnering with Cinnabon to add a new cinnamon roll-like baked good to its morning menu. So look for that from Wendy's. Sad news in the world of Pop-Tarts, which I like Pop-Tarts. Grape Pop-Tarts are the best. No argument. You can't argue. You're not allowed to argue. Grape Pop-Tarts are the best Pop-Tart. Right behind them are what's right behind grape? Probably blueberry or the cinnamon. Or cherry. I like Pop-Tarts. Did I tell you that? William Bill Post died on Saturday at the age of 96. He choked on a Pop-Tart. No, I'm kidding. He didn't. He will forever be remembered as the inventor of the Pop-Tarts. So, Bill Post died at 96. I don't know how he actually died. I'm pretty sure it was not choking on a Pop-Tart. Let's see here. Other food news. If you were devastated by Klondike's retirement of the classic ice cream treat Choco Taco last year, it's Taco Bell to the rescue as they're teaming up with Portland, Oregon ice cream company Salt and Straw to create the ice cream chocolate taco. So look for that at Taco Bell. And then Hershey's is firing up the Easter candy. Of course they are. New this year will be Cookies and Cream Polka Dot Bunnies, which will join the returning Cookies and Cream Polka Dot Eggs. So some Easter candy out there from Hershey's. You know what time it is. It's time for Today's Impossible Question. Today's impossible question, 20% of us say that we have done this before, going into the grocery store. It's kind of a rude thing. And this is the impossible question. 20% of us say that we have done this going into the grocery store. What is it? Any guesses? It is taking up 2 parking spaces. What a jerky thing to do. You know what should be the rule? When somebody parks down the middle and then of 2 parking spots, is there should be a vehicle that comes in on both sides and squeezes in so that they can't get back into their vehicle. What do you think? Good morning to you, Gina. Thank you for hanging out this morning. Hey, in some news from Wallet Hub, they do a survey. Survey says the best state capitals to live in. Now, number 1, according to this list from Wallet Hub, is Austin, Texas. Then you have Madison, Wisconsin, Raleigh, North Carolina, Boise, Idaho, and then Atlanta, Georgia. I wouldn't live in Atlanta, Georgia if you'd paid me $3 billion. But number 15 on the list is Des Moines. So, hey, we're right up there. Top 15, baby. Des Moines, Iowa at number 15 on Wallet Hub's best state capitals to live in. Let's go to the weird.
That is weird.
In some weird, a guy named Joaquin Guac Oliver died in Florida in 2018 during a high school massacre. But federal lawmakers who opposed tighter gun regulations began getting phone calls in his voice on Wednesday, kind of creepy, lambasting them for their position. The families of Oliver and 5 others killed with guns are using artificial intelligence to create messages in their loved ones' voices and robocalling them to the senators and House members who support the NRA and oppose the tougher gun laws. So again, dead people making phone calls to people that oppose their point of view. Artificial intelligence. Let's see here. How about this? You know, I like to play an occasional game of cornhole. I'm not very good. I usually like, if there's a cornhole tournament, me and my friend Michael will usually sign up and waste our money. Usually it's towards a good cause or a good fundraiser. So it's not really a complete waste. But I mean, we're wasting it because we know we're not going to win. But for the first time, 2 students received college athletic scholarships for cornhole. You know, the bag tossing game. The back, yeah, where you toss the bag at a board and try to get it into the hole. Colorado high schoolers Jackson Remick and Gavin Haman have already won a pair of national championships at the American Cornhole League. I need to practice more. I need to get into the American Cornhole League. This fall, both are heading to South Carolina to play Division I cornhole for Winthrop University. Goals, people. Scholarships for cornhole. See here. Let's go to the T-Swizz. The Swizzle. The Swizzinator. Good morning to you, Jason. Rick, I was going to say leaving the cart outside. Yeah. Do people do that at Brothers Market? How dare they? Just walk it back in, people. Taylor Swift. Researchers have found that more than 50 Taylor Swift songs have an optimal tempo for delivering effective chest compressions during out-of-hospital cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR. So, you know, I always think of that episode of The Office where they do it to Staying Alive. Ha, 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 staying alive, staying alive. And Kevin says, I can't do this anymore. Call it. So Taylor Swift, most of her songs, or 50 of them at least, are right at that beat where you want to be pumping the person's chest, trying to keep them alive. Staying alive. In England, in some weird news, police in England say a drunk driver did the right thing after doing the wrong thing. An emergency dispatcher received an unusual call just before noon on Monday when a motorist reported he was driving drunk, and he said, I I don't know what I'm doing. North Yorkshire police said that the man had a rough weekend when officers arrived. The 52-year-old was in a van, not down by the river, but he was on the side of the road. A breath test revealed he was 3 times over the legal limit. He was arrested and held in custody, released after being charged on Tuesday, but at least he had enough left in his brain to call 911 and say that he needed help. So, bad news, but good news. Sharon Stone. You know, you hear about, rich people not being rich and famous. Well, Sharon Stone complains that it's very expensive to be famous. Sharon Stone reported a net worth of $40 million, complained about the challenges that come with being wealthy and famous. In an interview published by InStyle, Sharon Stone expressed frustration, stating that you go out to dinner and there's 15 people at the table, and who gets the check? You get the $3,000 dinner check every single time. Now, Sharon's 65 years old, still worth $40 million. I mean, I'd say she's aging pretty well as far as still being worth $40 million. But yeah, she doesn't like paying the bill when she's the most famous and rich person at the table. Poor girl. Other weird news. Oh. Ew. On Tuesday, a flight from Amsterdam to Detroit returned after less than an hour in the air as a suitcase. Gross. This is just gross. We were talking about dead monkeys being in a suitcase here recently, but a suitcase containing rotten fish, barf, was in the overhead of the Airbus that they were in. According to sources, maggots started to get out of the suitcase, and some fell on passengers seated in the economy class. This is just disgusting. Once the aircraft landed, the passengers deplaned, and the suitcase was put into a bag to be burnt. The aircraft was deeply cleaned and is supposed to resume service in the coming days, I guess. But, can you imagine the lawsuits? If you were in an airplane and you had maggots falling on you from over top, just gross. See here, Disneyland employees who perform as various Disney characters at the theme park are seeking to join the Actors Equity Association, which represents everything from actors to strippers in Los Angeles. The union is seeking to represent the 1,700 Disneyland employees in the characters and parades departments at the park. So those folks that wear like the Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Goofy outfits, they're under those masks and those costumes. They want paid a little bit better. They're going to join that union. And then finally, from the weird today, in India, as a protest by farmers entered its second day, an unconventional strategy emerged on the ground as protesting farmers flew kites to counter drones employed by the government to drop tear gas on them. So evidently there is a farmer protest going on in India. They are fighting the drones by flying kites. I don't know. Evidently the drones get caught up in the kites and they can't drop the tear gas. So interesting stuff. Let's go to some law and disorder. In some disorder, the Jackson Township Police in Pennsylvania warning residents to be wary of high school students taking part in a game which could have deadly consequences. The department on Facebook warned on Thursday of last week that a sizable number of seniors at the Seneca Valley Senior High School, again, this is in Pennsylvania, have been taking part in a game called Assassin. Now, Assassin is a highly involved game which usually features large groups of people. The objective for each player is to eliminate every other player with mock weapons. which in this case are water guns, to become the last player standing. These students carry out the activity during their time away from school. While the game is, in theory, harmless, the police are saying that they have expressed concern that a resident armed with a real weapon might not find it so harmless. They say to be very careful if you're doing a water gun fight, because somebody might get involved with a real gun and shoot somebody. Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad that we live in a time where you can't have a water gun fight? Good morning to you, Deb and Jan. Thanks for joining us here this morning on the Morning Wake Up, brought to us by Home Plate Sports Cards. And then we'll go to Michigan for some more law and disorder. A Michigan man in custody after trying to break into the Calhoun County Jail in Michigan and trying to break into the county jail's ATM. So again, this moron trying to break into a county jail. Usually you try to break out of jail. At least that's the way I understand it. And then trying to break into its ATM. The individual began pounding on the entry door to the jail and then began to break into the ATM located in the lobby area. He was carrying a knife, which he was trying to use to break into these things. So, needless to say, this guy ended up in the county jail after being stupid. Some good news. Grover from Sesame Street. If I could remember how Grover talked. It has been so long since I've watched Sesame Street. I don't have a good Grover voice. Is it kind of like Yoda? Grover usually spends his time online pumping up his fans, singing to friends, and even trying his hand at self-portraits online. But the fuzzy blue Muppet apparently has a real new job that keeps him busy, at least according to his own admission on social media this week. He says, as a news reporter, I always do my research before I break a story. This is Grover. So hear this in a Grover voice. Let's see here. Grover says, I am confident to report that you are so special and amazing. That's news, I guess, from Grover. His reporting gig is sparking a bit of a meltdown on the internet, with the New York Times noting that, quote, journalists aren't optimistic. So we'll see how long Grover remains a reporter. Again, his big news flash was that people are special and amazing. Speaking of special and amazing people, I know we haven't seen Hot Neil Crott here on Steve Shetler Media for a while. I don't know if he's watching this morning. But I did go out and see Neil yesterday and took him his Valentine's Day shirt from Deb Club. And if you scroll down to last night on my Facebook feed, you'll see a picture of Neil and I in our Valentine's shirts, courtesy of Deb. So make sure you check that out. Neil doing good. He's in great spirits and doing well. So hopefully we'll know more here shortly on Neil. But yeah, check out that picture. We were wearing our fantastic Valentine's Day shirts, courtesy of Deb Club. Let's wrap this up with some...
Duh.
There.
Duh. Duh. Duh.
Let's wrap this up with some duh. Let's go to Florida, where there's always some duh going on. As, some people are pretty skittish on their job and can be spooked kind of easily. But this is a story of a police officer being kind of skittish and being spooked on the job. Something Florida cops need to be, I don't know, not so skittish as this guy. As a Florida police officer, there is video online of this. A Florida police officer started firing his gun, emptying his gun, and running for cover after he was spooked by a falling acorn on his car. I mean, we've got a tree out front of our house that drops acorns. And yes, on the right surface, they do make some really loud noise. But evidently an acorn dropped and popped on top of this guy's cop car, and he began firing his gun and running for cover. So you might want to check that video out online, and they might want to take the gun away from the skittish cop that freaks out at the sound of an acorn. That does it for our morning wake-up here. It's brought to us by the fine folks at Home Plate Sports Cards in Oskaloosa. Your forecast for today brought to us by the Garden Gate. Cloudy skies through mid-morning, gradually clearing. Pretty breezy out. A little bit chilly, a high of 41. Maybe some snow late tonight into tomorrow morning. So be aware of that. All right, coming up later on today. Let's see here. Today is Thursday. We've got In Remembrance Of coming up at 8 o'clock. I'm looking over at the schedule right now. We've got the Sigourney Public Library video with Miss Amanda at 10 this morning. We'll have the Great Outdoors with Mahaska County Conservation's Laura DeCook at 4 o'clock. We'll have Successful Farming, our new program we started up this week at 5:30. We'll have the Weekly Pet from the Heartland Humane Society this evening. And then we'll be going to Keota for Keota basketball. That'll start at 7. Also tonight, we're going to have to squeeze in Morgan You Asked For, the Iowa-based sports talk show here on Steve Shetler Media. That's usually Thursdays at 7. We might have to bump that up a little bit earlier due to Keota basketball. So we got, obviously a full day coming up here on Steve Shetler Media. Lots of videos, lots of content coming your way today. So stay tuned for all of that. All right. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate... Nope, it's over here. I appreciate our sponsors that always rotate in the corner down here. They are the engine that keeps things going here at Steve Shetler Media. If it wasn't for my sponsors, if it wasn't for... which way do I go? Up here? Whoop. There we go. Home Plate Sports Cards sponsoring the morning show. We wouldn't be able to do this. So appreciate all my sponsors. Appreciate all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting and keeping things going here on Steve Shetler Media. Our morning wake up brought to us by Home Plate Sports Cards. And again, that'll do it for this morning. Tune in tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. and we will do this again. We'll see you later.